serious conversation. And Dr. Bob is an amazing health practitioner. When I took my wife to go and see him, he did a number of tests on my wife. And then he sat down and he said, how does a tornado start? Then he said, how does a whirlwind start? And I'm going, you know what? I don't know. He said, the conditions have to be right. And that's how cancers start. The conditions have to be right. Now, we might talk a little bit about health, but are the conditions right for you right now for an additional stream of income? Yes or no? I would have thought they are. The whole world is changing so fast, it's crazy. But one thing I can guarantee you, that people are not going to stop consuming certain products. Most of those products are hot. You might have heard of them. They're called tea and coffee. People are not going to stop wanting to drink those. And people are not going to want to stop being healthy. What we were able to do is take the most consumed drinks in the world after water that have been infused with the most powerful superfood on earth, which we'll be talking a little about this evening. So Dr. Bob, we've still got a few minutes, 7 minutes before we officially start the Zoom room, but just to get people warmed up here, tell us about the superfood. You know, just tell us, what do you think people need to hear about Ganoderma or reishi?
Well, Pete, I might want to step back a little further and talk about nutrition for a moment, because, you know, people I think are very, very confused about nutrition. The Global Nutrition Report says that malnutrition was the #1 cause of death on planet Earth in 2020. About 60% of all deaths had some root in malnutrition, and every single country on planet Earth suffers from malnutrition. So the sad reality is people are not getting from their food what they once got, because we've depleted the soils. Farmers found out about 5 decades ago that they could put 3 elements in the soil, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and grow big plants, but they didn't grow healthy plants. It takes 30 elements to grow healthy plants, animals, and humans. So when we eat food that's grown in deficient soil, plants that those are, and then the animals that eat those plants, we get deficiency going up the food chain, and we're at the top of it, and we're profoundly malnourished. So superfoods are amazing in that they have all the fabulous 50, all the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, proteins, carbohydrates, fat, fiber, and water in doses that make a difference to human health. But then they also have a number of unique properties, unique molecules. And in fact, Ganoderma is the top superfood on the planet. Thousands of peer-reviewed medical studies in human use for 5,000 plus years that we know of, no known toxicity, no known drug interaction. And when you start really digging into it, you'll find out that what people are really struggling with, Ganoderma is great for it.
Yeah. It almost does sound too good to be true, but it is true. You know, before I started drinking Ganoderma, I had issues with my glands. I would regularly get sore throats, colds. In 8.5 years, I've had 1 cold. I have been distributing these products globally, and I have so many stories that a lot of people would have a tough time to actually believe them to be true. But you said something to me not long ago. You said, it's criminal not to tell people about this, you know, and I took that to heart. And I thought, you know what, you're right. I need to tell everybody. Let people make up their own minds about it. And then what's happened, Dr. Bob, is I've really decided to make some big changes myself with my health and nutrition, just to kind of fine tune a few things. But I also thought, you know what, I'm going to learn more about medicinal mushrooms. And recently I've been looking even deeper at some of the other ones. And it just seems that Ganoderma is in a different league to all of them. You know, and that's why, as you said, 3,000 studies, over 600 on cancer alone. But what I've really started to understand is the power of mycelium, you know, the power, this substance under the earth, which holds things together, which allows plants and trees to communicate, how fungus has been around and mushrooms have been around longer than us. And they're just incredible, you know, and the business of medicinal mushrooms, we haven't seen anything yet. We think we haven't seen anything yet with coffee. As much as we might be going into the meta universe, they're not going to be able to drink coffee in the meta universe. They're not going to be able to grow mushrooms. And we're just so lucky that we have this. And this is what we're going to be talking about. You're welcome to come and see us on Zoom if you want to. Look, I'll tell you something, everyone that's listening on Clubhouse right now. I love to speak, and I'm pretty inspiring at what I do. But Dr. Bob, when it comes to anything to do with health and well-being, and now turning your passions into profit, Dr. Bob, you are just an incredible human being, and our lives have changed beyond anything I could ever put into words. The words would never do it justice. The impact that you've had on my life, and the impact that you've had on millions of people around the world, simply by sharing, tea and coffee with people. So it's coming up to 7:15 here in the UK. Dr. Bob is in Houston, Texas, which is it's 1:15 coming up to.
Yep, we're right in the middle of the day here. Absolutely beautiful day in Texas. If
you guys want to come over onto Zoom, I can see Mr. Jay Chase. I can see Kate Lee is in the house. Kate, it's great to have you here. Why don't we just get ready with this just for a few seconds? Why don't we get down to business? There are people on Zoom coming in right now.
Let's get down to business. Give you one more night,
We're going to start this room in 90 seconds time. And like I say, guys, if you want to come over and listen on Zoom and watch,
let's get down to business.
You are welcome.
Mama, please don't worry about me.
You might want to get a pen and paper.
Friends keep telling me to leave this.
We'd love to see you on Zoom.
Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get down to business.
I love being your warm-up act, Dr. Bob.
We've had a million nights just like.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. Those of you that are on Clubhouse, in about 1 minute's time, we're going to kick this off. We're going to be on Zoom if you want to come, but you can come and listen on Clubhouse.
It's been a while since
We're also live on Facebook. We're live everywhere.
in my heart to hit it.
Okay, it's 7:15. I can see Mr. Zaf Khan is in the house as well. Mr. Zaf will come over to you very shortly.
Dreams we had don't ever fall away.
Okay, you ready to hit record, Dr. Bob? Or are we're already recording?
We're already recording.
We are ready. Okay, guys, listen.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Happy, beautiful day, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Tonight, we are on Zoom. We're on Clubhouse. We're talking about turning your passion into profit. And I'm super excited to be presenting tonight with my great friend, my colleague, and someone who has been a mentor to me for 11 years of my life. And it's so crazy to think about it, because probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I knew this person through his reputation because of what other people were saying about him as the authority on nutrition. And I don't know about you. I think nutrition is an important thing. But Dr. Bob is a functional medicine doctor. He's the clinic director of the Natural Medicine Center in Houston, Texas. He is, it's sometimes hard to just kind of think of he's just a phenomenal human being who's so passionate about all things to do with health. My name is Pete Cohen. I am a performance psychologist. My background is in physiology, actually, before psychology. I'm the author of 20 books on personal and professional development. I've worked with many world and Olympic champions, just like Dr. Bob has. And we're just in the business of helping people be world champions in their own life. And we're going to be talking about passion. We're going to be talking about profit. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob, what's going on? Good to see you this evening, my friend. How are you?
I always like to say it's great to be seen. I'm epic.
Can't hear you.
That's almost Cohenetic.
Oh, no, I know why. 1 second. That's my mistake. So there you go. You see, you can try and get everything right and be really clever. There you go. I'm sorry, Dr. Bob. Over to you.
That's all right. Hey, thanks for the beautiful intro, Pete. I love you. I love Hannah. Together, we're making the world better. And, I've had so many wonderful conversations with people And you had such a brilliant introduction. Why don't we take things that people are doing every single day, but just make them better? And every sip of our coffee or tea moves people to a greater state of health, happiness, and if they choose, even success, because we've got a global team that's expanding exponentially. More and more people are looking for more income options and certainly better health. And if anything, this last year and a half has been a great awakening for a lot of the globe.
Yeah, I think that awakening is it's just continuing. More and more people are waking up to the world that we're in. It will never be the same again. And COVID has most definitely just sped a lot of that up. And, when it comes to passion, I'm really curious to all of you that are here right now, those of you that are here, whether you're a guest, whether you work with us already, feel free just to send us a message. In your life right now, what are you passionate about? What exactly are you passionate about? Are you passionate about health? Are you passionate about money? What is it? What is it? Are you passionate about people? Personally, for me, I'm passionate about making the most of possibilities. I'm really passionate about helping people be more alive, feel more in control, live longer. What about you, Dr. Bob? I know that might sound like a pretty obvious question, but what in your life right now are you most passionate about?
Well, Pete, I think that's a brilliant question that everybody should ask themselves. And, I've said for decades, I'm all things health, happiness, and success. First and foremost, health is our wealth. And you and I have done podcasts even before we were business partners. About the Magnificent Seven, you've got to eat right, drink right, think right, move right, sleep right, poop right, talk right every day. Health isn't complicated, but there are a few things that you need to make sure that you're on top of. Happiness, my favorite formula for happiness is the best way to get happy is to actually give happy. When you add value to people, when you make their life better, it just comes back exponentially in terms of joy and other things. And then how about success? I love Zig Ziglar. He said, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. And we're on the same page on all of those things. And it's fun to help people.
Well, I think we're also on the same page about something else. So, it was Warren Buffett that said, what you do should be your hobby. What the world does should be your business. And you and I have something massively in common, right? And that's this. If someone comes to us with a problem, there's not too many better people on earth that would go to the lengths that we would go to find that person a solution to their problem. And if we couldn't help them, we would find someone who does. That is something that you and I are so ridiculously aligned to that it is impossible to do that justice. Because for those of you that don't know this story, I'll just give it a very brief overview of the story. So 11 years ago, my wife wasn't given very long to live. Now, as I said, I believe there's an answer to everything. I learned that from my mom. And I literally asked my coach when he was alive. I called him up. My wife was at the hospital. I said, what should I do? And he said, find people that are still alive with the same brain tumor and find out why. Why are those people still here? And he also said, what is she going to do when she gets better? Now, I didn't ask her that question for 3 years, but I did find people that were still alive. And it all took me down a road to Houston, Texas, to work with a guy called Dr. Stanislav Burzynski. Now, Burzynski, huge amounts of controversy about this gentleman, but that's another story. The treatment cost around $250,000. And it was amazing because it was pretty full on, but the treatment started working pretty fast. And when we were there, I wanted my wife to see a nutritionist. She'd had cancer before. I wanted her to really get to grips with what was the best type of diet for her to eat. And, in life, you should be careful what you wish for, because the next day, a boy came into this hospital we were at with my wife, and the mother said, we've just been to see Dr. Rakowski. And I went, Rakowski, I know that name. I thought, Rakowski. I thought, I wonder if it's that guy who I'd heard his name being mentioned in the fitness conventions I used to speak at. And it was. I actually called up. I couldn't speak to him. He called me back. He got us in. He made special arrangements for us to come in. And look, to cut a long story short, I wouldn't have believed that 11 and a half years ago that the advice that he gave us, the nutrition that he gave my wife, the supplements, and then just saying, look, if you drink coffee, drink this. I didn't drink coffee. I was not interested, but it wasn't the coffee. So, Dr. Bob, just for those of us that don't know, why did you recommend my wife to drink that coffee?
Oh, it's very simple, Pete. You know, when you start looking at the perfect storm of cancer, and we could put our nerd hats on for a second, but low oxygen, low nutrients, high acid, chronic inflammation, and immune suppression secondary to chronic distress, the herb in that coffee, Ganoderma, actually combats every component of the perfect storm. It's a nitrate donor, so it dilates blood vessels. It has all of the fabulous 50, all the nutrients that we need. It's the most alkaline food on the planet. It modulates the inflammatory process by over a dozen known mechanisms, and it helps the body to attack the cancer both through the antibody immune system and direct action against the cancers. And Pete, it took several years after it. Ganoderma has been proven directly against 15 different types of cancer, including glioblastoma, the most aggressive brain cancer that medicine doesn't have much of a cure rate for. So we know if we can change the conditions, we can win. And I'm loving looking at the picture of Hannah on the screen right now, because if we go back to right after her brain surgery, you know, things were pretty grim then, but things are really wonderful now.
Yeah. And the most consistent thing she has done, without doubt, is to consume Ganoderma every single day, which is something I have done every single day. And as I mentioned before, my own testimonial, before I drank this, I used to get swollen glands. I used to get colds. I used to get run down. Actually, in fact, in my 20s, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue, which I had for 10 years of my life. It was horrendous, to the point where I didn't even want to be here. There were a few days where it was just horrendous. But I look back now and think it was such a distant memory. And now my health is, you know, I'm 51 years old. I'm fighting fit, and I've never been better. But I've been collecting testimonials for 8 years now. And what's amazing is that, you know, a year and a half after you met my wife, you called me up, and I remember exactly where I was. I remember exactly where I was sitting, and you were so enthusiastic in the way that you are that I didn't even know what I was doing. And I just said yes. It cost me £200 to join a business. Within a week, I had product. I started consuming it, and I must admit, it was amazing. I just felt like, I don't know. I thought, is this placebo? But the more I consume it, the better I feel. And who would have believed that right now we have? I mean, how many people have you introduced this to now, Dr. Bob? And what impact has this had on you? Because I mean, we can talk about health, right? And let's be honest, right? If this had nothing to do with health, you'd have nothing to do with it, right? Knowing you the way that I had. If this was, I don't know, something else, you would not have ever have gone anywhere near this. But what impact has this had on you? The fact that, well, tell us your story, because you were very reticent to a business that was selling through a network, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know, it's fascinating, Pete, because I also made a living as a speaker. So I lectured for professional nutrition companies. And as part of what the message they wanted me to give to the audience was, you know, if there's something related to network marketing, don't do it. And the reason they would say that very simply is it would cut into their sales, their profits. And, you know, they wanted to protect what they were doing in terms of their investments. And frankly, I had met people that were in network marketing. I'd never seen anybody that succeeded. It didn't mean it was a bad model, but it just didn't seem to be for me. So then we go back, and my son came home one day, and he was still in high school. And he said, Dad, I just invested in a coffee business. And, you know, I was a little confused because Jacob worked as a lifeguard. I thought, Warren Buffett invests in coffee. How can he invest in coffee? And I just looked at him. I said, yeah, good for you, son. He says, Dad, you're going to love it. It's healthy coffee. And I said, well, that's good. Better yet. He said, yeah, I want you to sell it in the office. And I said, absolutely not. You know, and he looked at me a little confused. He said, why not? I said, Jacob, you know, I see people that are critically ill. I see world champions. I've got a lot to do. I'm not going to sell coffee in my office. And he said, well, Dad, you should at least check it out. Well, as soon as I found out that it was infused with USDA certified organic Ganoderma, also known as reishi, I said, you've got to be kidding me. They put that stuff in coffee. I'd already been using that for more than 20 years in clinical practice with great success. And then I had a cup and I said, wow, this is really good. Okay, it's a better cup of coffee. I don't need anything else to do, but we'll sell it in the clinic.
So
And
when I came to see you, because Dr. Basinski, the cancer doctor, was treating my wife because he was being taken to court, and if he'd been convicted, they would have taken my wife off the treatment. So I literally filmed everything. I filmed everything for the whole 7 weeks we were there, and I filmed when we came to see you, and I actually filmed, and I opened the door and the first thing I saw right in front of me was sachets of this coffee and tea that had been, it was only coffee in those days, I think. It was pinned to the thing, and there was some boiling water there. And that's how you started. And you were not interested in building a team or anything like that. So what happened to you? I mean, you obviously had some form of, I had a massive epiphany, but we'll come to that in a moment. What happened that finally made you go, well, hang on a second here. No, I'm going to do more than just sell these products and serve them to my patients?
well, first and foremost, my patients were loving it. They weren't having caffeine crashes. They were having their aches and pains resolve better. They had more energy. They were loving the products. And once they bought it, they were being very, very consistent. But it was actually the transformation of my son. He would, in high school, he would wear ripped shorts and a t-shirt that probably had some words on it, nothing terribly fancy. And next thing you know, he's putting on a shirt and tie, and he was going to the mall to meet people every day to hand out coffee samples. And you know what? He really worked on his game. He worked on his smile. He'd greet people, and he, after he'd say hello, he'd say, look, I'm doing some marketing research for the world's healthiest gourmet coffee and tea. If you'll take 2 samples and answer 2 questions for my boss, how does it taste and how does it make you feel? I could get a commission. Would you do that for me? And with that strategy, Jacob would go to the mall, sample at least 10 people a day. He started building a very successful business. He was still in high school when he qualified for a company paid for Mercedes-Benz. And
well, come on, let's be honest here, right, Dr. Bob? Let's be totally honest. Your son really never has to work again, right? I mean, he could just keep his feet up forever. And he's got his second child now.
He and Megan are stay-at-home parents, and then they also brought in an au pair from Argentina, and they have other help with the house. They have a picture-perfect life. Stay-at-home parents, 2 beautiful daughters. They do whatever they want to do. It's really fantastic. I tell him if he put his book in publication to be financially free at 23, and he really had it done by 21 because he had his first $100,000 a year profit by age 21. And that's what this business can do. If you actually just can consistently share products, share the opportunity, and teach others to do the same, there are no limits in this business.
So thank you for sharing that. And I'm very grateful to Jacob because, I know that every time I drink a cup of this coffee, he gets paid. And I'm so grateful for that. He deserves it. He deserves it again and again and again and again and again. And I just love that. I think it's one of the most beautiful things. And for you as well. Look what you did for me and my wife, and you get rewarded. And I know it's not about the money for you, but the money's nice, right? And now you're talking the sort of money for you. I mean, I know you're still working as hard as you ever have done and seeing patients. But for me, Dr. Bob, again, I was always, I had the products in the industry of network marketing, in most cases, are phenomenal. It's the companies have chosen not to go down the traditional route, to sell to retailers where they're going to get ripped off. So it's often premium products that are being sold through a network, service or product that's sold through a network. But for me, Dr. Bob, I met people in the early 90s, and I started using some of these products. I had a couple of clients when I was a personal trainer who had irritable bowels. There was a company that had, it's called Forever Living. And I got some of these people to drink aloe vera, and it made a massive difference. I was like, wow. And then there was another company. And then been asked to go and speak at the conventions as a speaker. And I'd look at all these people and I'd think, how did this happen? And for me, I felt uncomfortable about recruiting people. There was always something in my mind, but that was my own reality, because the truth of the people who are really successful in this industry over time, they've just built teams. That's all they've done. They have built teams. A team is a team where everyone's playing for each other. No one's better than each other. Someone might have recruited somebody else, but that really doesn't matter. And the last thing I want to say on that, Dr. Bob, is, personal development is totally immersed in the industry of network marketing, from Amway, all those people that used to listen to tapes, you know all about that. And then people like Jim Rohn and Bob Proctor and Robert Kiyosaki, all of these people. Well, Jim Rohn made millions. Bob Proctor's made millions in the industry of network marketing. And it's so many people that will always say, but I tell you what, we are all doing network marketing all the time. We just don't get paid. And I tell you, there's lots of network marketing companies that are fantastic. In terms of what we have, we just have a product, and the product is so great because it's something that people want. People don't do what they need to do. 2%, as Napoleon Hill, 2% of people will do what they need to do. Everyone else will do what they want, right? What do you have to say about that?
I might even be surprised if it's as high as 2%. It's pretty fascinating. But with your guidance, with your friendship, with your leadership, you do a great job at getting people to understand the importance. And by the way, I think you find an amazing way to make it fun. And that can be a big part of the game. I remember one of my great mentors said, Bob, always do your best, always try to get better, and always have fun. And we do that. And, just imagine, people are sharing a cup of coffee right now all over the world. They're not getting paid for it. And they can't set their family up for financial freedom for a long, long time. But we can, people love coffee.
Well, the thing about brand loyalty, we've been doing a lot of this stuff recently, all about branding and loyalty. You want people to be loyal to you. If you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, we are our own brand. But what's amazing is when you have people care less about brands, less than ever. They really, really do. But if they love a brand and they buy into it, then that's what they want. They won't want anything else. And I want to introduce someone, to come and share with us now. So there's a gentleman here in South Africa. His name's Mr. Zaf Khan. And he found me, basically. And in fact, Zaf, why don't you tell us the story? We talk about passion, we talk about profits. Tell us a little bit about you and what this business has actually done for you and the impact it's had on your life and the people around you.
Hey, Dr. Bob. Hey, Mr. Pete Cohen. Thank you so much for that introduction. You mentioned so many powerful points there. But at the time when Organo theoretically fell into my lap is when I reached out to you on Facebook. And you know what? Social media, people can use it for good or they can use it for bad. So I basically use it for good. Just look to see what other people are doing. And I don't know how I stumbled upon your post, but I'm glad I commented because that led to this. And it was the Muhammad Ali post. So from there, I think we did make connection, and I found out what you're doing. And you mentioned the coffee business, not so thorough, but a little bit. And then I got inquisitive with it, and I began to tap into it. And then when I went to Google, I found out that 5 of the top 10 earners at that time were from this network marketing company. I was like, wow, I never seen so many top earners from one company on a top 10 direct selling list. So that basically encouraged me because you want to do what the best are doing, right? Not to say there's any other companies out there that you may not succeed in, but I said, no, these guys know what they're doing, and coffee is consumed worldwide. You don't have to teach people how to have coffee. You just need to boil the water and have the coffee. So I didn't know anything about the superfood in the coffee. All I knew is that it had a competitive advantage, and basically reading people's testimonials got me more inquisitive. At the same time, my mom had cervical cancer, and my dad lost his job. We were back on house payments and car payments, so we were really getting desperate. And one thing I realized is, if we look for more jobs, we're going to find more jobs. And most of the people who have jobs are basically already in debt, so they're basically working to pay that debt. And a lot of people owe more money than they earn. So I wanted to create something for myself where I don't have to work, because not that I don't like work, I just don't like being told what to do. So I began studying network marketing at that time, and I'm glad that I didn't pick up Eric Worre's book in my previous 2 network marketing companies, because I began to read it when I joined Organo, and it really changed my life. So back then, my mom used to work well over, I think it was 12, 13 hours a day, and that wasn't life, but she did what she needed to do to put food on the table. And one thing I told her that, life will never be the same. We're going forward. It's simple as that. If you want to take the island, you got to burn the boats. We had to go through that rough patch, and we began sourcing the product out from other countries. And well, we settled with Turkey because it was a good route for us. And that whole thing where you don't need everyone, you just need a few people. My mom set out to Johannesburg, and she met with a few networks of people. And I think it was about 5 people there. One of them were from Dubai, and we only had about 3 sachets of coffee. And from there onwards, today, if we look back, we grew a team of close to 3,000 people, 3,500 people. And it all began with a vision, because people knew exactly what product we have, and they knew that you don't have to teach people to drink it. They know what it's, they know how to have it. So simplicity is key to success. That's what I believe. As simple as it is, it's easier to do. And from there onwards, I've changed so many people's lives, either with health or with wealth. And it's as simple as sharing a cup of coffee. So basically 4 years down the line, when I started Organo, I only had $23 to my name. And right now it's about $930,000 in team sales. So in a country like South Africa, where your average monthly income is about $150 to $200 now because of COVID, that's a massive jump. And I can't believe I've done such huge numbers, but it's not through me, it's through the network of helping other people, as Dr. Bob mentioned. If you want to get ahead in life, just help more people.
Well, it's been amazing, but just as a coach, just to see you advance, to see the person you've become is one of my greatest, it's not my achievements. I mean, that's such a crazy thing to say, but you know what I mean? It's like one of the greatest things I've observed. And the fact that I've had the opportunity to come out there in South Africa and help you build your team. And Dr. Bob has been out there as well, because we're a team and we will go to great lengths to help the people in our team succeed. So thank you so much. Mr. Eric Higgins, would you like to, it'd be great to hear some testimonials as well from a few people. But Eric, what would you like to say, my friend? Unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. How are you guys doing? Lovely just listening in to hear your passion and enthusiasm. And you know what? This is about consistency, and it's about having a really strong personal mission to go out and share this. And, Pete, you're absolutely right. You will encounter naysayers, but you'll also encounter naysayers in everything you do. And, I also had experience in a previous company as well. And I didn't like the explaining part. It wasn't for me. I would rather gift someone something, allow them to have an experience, which is already inside of their habits. As a coach as well, I understand the value of health and a habit. It's, to avoid the word easy, but it is an easier share with someone, more accessible, I would say, share for people to enjoy. And they don't have to change their ways. I think that's a great way of filling the gap for what you need for nutritional support. And as Dr. Bob mentioned earlier on the call, the soils have been depleted. That game is being changed. And, that means that we're going to be suffering because of that. So we need to do everything in our personal power to up our nutritional value, up our nutritional intake on a daily basis. And it honestly does not get any easier than switching out your cup. We had an event this evening. I was just a little late back from. It was a fitness event, a movement event through animal flow and training. And I served up some of this before we got started. And I said, guys, I'm not going to overpromise you anything, but I want you to pay attention to how your body feels as we go through this practice. And I just watched everyone as we were doing this and getting to this level of intensity in what we were doing. And the light in their eyes, I could just see them waking up. Some of the guys were half asleep before they started. So I love to see the light in people's eyes open up and continue to share it. So just excited and just grateful to have had a conversation with you gents and was open enough to say, let's do it. Let's go for it. So look, I'm going to pass it back to you gents to continue on.
Thank you, Eric. Really appreciate. I just want to hear from you, and then Dr. Bob. It would be great to talk about, how do you build something like this? But before we do that, every Monday night at 6:15 GMT, we do a call on Clubhouse, all about it's a health topic, and the same on Tuesday. Eric, if you could tell us what the subject is going to be on Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday I was on Zoom at 7:15. And then also just tell us briefly, just what impact has this business had on you?
So the calls for Monday and Tuesday is going to be creating unstoppable energy. Actually, when I said that out loud, I just visualized myself with a cape, you know, flying through the sky. But whatever that is for you guys, you know, you cannot do it without energy. And, you know, we'll go into a deeper dive on what Ganoderma or Reishi can do for your overall vitality and energy production. Because like I said, at the end of the day, we're either creating energy or we're depleting energy. So it's a big investment in your health. So we're going to go on a deeper dive on that. But for me personally, Pete, yeah, I mean, it's allowed us the freedom to change country. You know, we were essentially put in a position where we got like a little tired of where we were living. And we said, you know, we want to change that up. And the ability to be in a different country, but still be able to connect with other people around the world and grow your business to no limits, that really appealed to me. So now we've an income stream that's coming alongside of what our current or additional passions are, which aligns beautifully with it. And we're on a massive mission right now, Pete, to impact the lives of 100,000 people within the next 2 years by sharing different fun elements of ourselves and educational elements of ourselves on social media. So we're merging what we love to do alongside with this business to add a super value package to the world who comes into our sphere, and we'll meet them where they are by educating, inspiring, and clearing up what's available for people. You know, that's really important for me, is to communicate that with the world, that there are options for better health and for more wealth, and you don't have to break your back 9 to 5 for 40 hours a week for 40 years to do so. So that's it for me for the minute.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much. For those of you that are just coming in late, you see a number of people or hearing a number of people, we're talking about turning your passions into profit. We all are in a business that Dr. Bob went first. I think you started probably 10 years ago. I've been doing it for 8.5 years, simply sharing the most consumed product in the world after water, the most consumed beverage, the most traded commodity in the world after oil. But it's not just coffee. We have a competitive advantage. Our coffee is infused with something that thousands of years ago, if you've been caught with it and you were not in the Chinese royal family, first offense, they'd chop your arm off. Second offense, they'd chop your head off. There's over 3,000 medical studies on this, 600 plus on cancer. There's I think 24 on even HIV. There's actually 3 on COVID. You know, you're talking about the most powerful superfood on earth, and there is no question the world is not running out of people. The world is not running out of people that want to drink tea and coffee. The world is not running out of people that want to be healthy and want a healthier choice. And the world is not running out of people who are looking for an opportunity. The great resignation, whatever this thing is called all over the world, the people are going, I'm not working for the man anymore. There are more and more people that are going to be looking for ways to make money. And there's a lot of money to be made in what we're doing. And then the other thing, Dr. Bob, is medicinal mushrooms. If you look to see what that industry is worth, I know, Eric, you gave us some statistics on that not long ago. That industry is only going to explode because of the power of these things. And more people are looking for the truth. They're looking for alternatives. And mushrooms, really, medicinal mushrooms, are probably the most nutritionally dense and the most medicinal substances on earth. So we could go down that road, but Dr. Bob, let's talk about how do you start a business, you know, like this? Because it ain't like getting a McDonald's, you know, and spending $250,000, right? And buying some land. How does someone start a business like this? And how does someone get going if they want to come and join our team?
Well, that's the beauty of it. So the way you start is whoever invited you to this Zoom or this Clubhouse, or if you're watching it on Facebook Live, go back to them and say, yeah, I'm ready. I want to join your team. And then they get a link to their website. And the cost is $49.95 to join the team. And then you want to buy some initial inventory. And by the way, that $49.95 gets you a website operational with a merchant account in 38 countries and expanding. And then the company has what they call accelerator packs, good, better, or best. So about a $250 US pack is called the bronze pack. You get paid more money, more ways than if you just bought the website. A silver pack is about $500. You get paid more than the bronze pack. Or if you want to start out at the highest rate, that's a gold pack, about 1,200 hours worth of product. But quite simply, we have Zooms multiple times every single week. We've got clubhouses. We do certain things on Instagram. We have plenty of resources to share, Facebook groups, and get plugged in, start learning. And ultimately, what you want to do is just share coffee with family, friends, and even people you meet. I'll start conversations every single day on Facebook. And ultimately, what I like about the term of sales, and by the way, everybody's in sales. You're trying to sell someone on an idea of where to go for dinner, or your spouse, what to do on a given evening or whatever. But I like sales is earning the right to make a recommendation. And after I have a conversation with people, they'll often ask, well, tell me more about you. And I'll tell them I'm most excited about what I believe to be the healthiest gourmet coffee and tea in the world. In fact, I'd love your opinion on some samples. Would you like to try some? And through that strategy, I've literally signed up hundreds of business partners from conversations that started on Facebook. Because once they get the sample, they love it. You know, I just had just before I got on this Zoom, I sent a girl some coffee and tea. And I asked her, how'd you like it? She says, oh my God, I love it. And I said, wonderful. Are you interested in being a customer or a business partner? She said, a customer for now. I said, perfect. Retail or wholesale. Just that simple. Send her to my website and she made her purchase and she's thrilled. So she will move her body forward with every sip.
I got a testimonial from someone the other day. This is what it says. I'm looking at it. It goes, I have to say, Pete, you're my absolute hero. This is what changed me. This has changed me. No more cravings, exercise 30, 50 minutes a day, clarity and focus, confidence in everything I do, high level of wellness, absolutely priceless. Something great happens with my brain, and something's great has happened with my well-being and my brain. I recommend this coffee to absolutely everyone I know because they deserve to reclaim their superpower. Listen, if anyone has any questions, we can take some questions. If anyone wants to share a quick testimonial, they can as well. This is something I love to share. Those of you that are looking on Zoom, you know, this is PubMed, the biggest medical database in the world. I was just looking at Ganoderma and HIV just to make sure I was correct in what I was saying. Look, 2024 results. Dr. Bob, I want you to hear actually from someone on Clubhouse who's in Korea, and she's been consuming Ganoderma. You're going to be able to hear her on Zoom as well. Hey, Kate, how are you?
Hi, Pete. I'm enjoying this dialogue. Dr. Bob, I was in the Zoom meeting with Bob, Pete, and you, and I took immediate action, and I got the Ganoderma lucidum and vitamin D and glutamine, I believe. And I've been consuming that. Yeah, I've been consuming that for 12 days now. My skin is healing. It's miraculous. Now, I came up here to ask a question. Let's say I join the team. How many days before I get ROI?
Well, it's a great question. You were asking Dr. Bob, but the first challenge we have is because you're in Korea, so the company doesn't distribute there. So we'd have to find a way, but where there is a will, there is always a way. So that's a conversation that we can have. But Dr. Bob, do you just want to share just in terms of, you know, what we do? This business attracts two types of people. I can tell you that. I mean, this is a generalization. It attracts people that can see an opportunity and go, wow, this is brilliant. Or it attracts people that are in a really challenging situation and feel like, you know what, I don't have any alternative. I need to do something. Everyone who's really comfortable in life, this does not attract them because this is a business you have to work. So Dr. Bob, when someone starts, how can they get a return on investment quickly?
Well, I might just share a story with that and let you know that it's completely dependent upon you, your influence, your market, and how much you go to work. But, you know, Manny Pacquiao is part of our Organo family. He's a senator in the Philippines. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. He won about $200 million in the boxing ring. Someone in the Philippines offered Manny Pacquiao a cup of coffee. And he said, you know what? I don't drink coffee. It makes my heart race. Well, the person said to him, this one won't. Try it. As a doctor, I wouldn't say that. I'd let him know it's a nitrate donor. It alkalizes the system. It drives the parasympathetic nervous system. It's great for the heart. And likely it won't cause your heart to race. But, you know, try it and see what happens. Well, as I heard the story, Manny Pacquiao took a sip and he was fully expecting his heart to race, but it didn't. So he had another sip and another sip. Then he finished the cup, had a second cup, had a third cup, went to the gym, had a workout of a lifetime, and went back to the person and said, wow, this is amazing. How do I get more? And the person said to him, you have three options. You can be a retail customer. I'm happy to sell it to you. For a small fee, you could be a wholesale buyer. And everybody wants to save money. Or we know that you're a humanitarian. If you'd like to join our business, you could help thousands of families with their health and their wealth. Which would you prefer? And Pacquiao said, you know me, I want to help the world. And he developed a multi-million-dollar business in a matter of months. So it depends on who you are and your influence. Some like Manny Pacquiao, they can do it really, really fast. You know, your return on investment is going to determine how many people you share with and how much influence you have. Once they get the product in their body, they're going to realize it's really quite good for them. And this business is phenomenal.
Yeah, Kate, we'll find a way for sure. There's someone else that's just come on the stage, Dr. Bob, Doctor. Does anyone have any questions as well? But let's just go to Dr. Marina. We're on Zoom as well, and we're on Clubhouse. Dr. Marina, do you just want to give Dr. Bob and everyone here your testimonial, because this is pretty awesome.
Wow, this is like a different planet, a planet for smart people. Oh God, it's so beautiful. I'm so grateful. You know, I never experienced this before. I have everything is so clear. Everything is so aligned. It's almost like this is like the perpetuum mobile for me, at least. I wake up in the morning, I can't wait to exercise. And this I never done before. I wake up in the morning, I have my coffee, I go exercise, and then everything runs so well. The whole day is like, it's designed for me. I can't explain it. I don't understand the science behind it, but it's a miracle for which I'm so grateful to you, Pete. Thank you so much. And I'm giving it to everyone. I start buying so much now because I want everybody to have it and everybody to experience the same miracle that happened to me. And it's that simple. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that. I really, really appreciate it. It's such a simple thing to do. You just give someone something. You don't have to let the product do the talking. I can talk till the cows come home. But you know, the best thing with this is sometimes just shut up. Let people, they don't need to know all of the ins and outs, the science behind it. But Dr. Bob, what would you like to say? I don't know if anyone else has any other questions. If you want to get started and work with us and be in a dream team, then as Dr. Bob said, reach out to the person who invited you here or however you got to the room. Just reach out to us. You know, you can see on Clubhouse, there's a link there. You can go and see more about the health benefits if you want to. But, you know, for me, there's only three choices, right? The first, there's a choice of, or is it four choices? One is, this isn't for me, but that's absolutely fine. Another one is, you know, you want to try the product, right? Great. You want to try the product? Let us help you try it. Number two is, or is it number three? Number three, maybe you just want to sell some of this product, make a little bit of money on the side, or maybe you want to build a team. That's number four. Whatever you want to do, it's all good with us, but make a decision, and, you know, do something. Now is the time. Dr. Bob, what would you like to say before we end the room?
You know, my great mentor, Jim Rohn, who became a multi-millionaire in this business model in the 1960s, would wrap up every meeting with four questions. And here they are. The first question is why? Why'd you take the time to be on this Zoom or Clubhouse or Facebook with us? There's so many other things you could do. Well, the second question is answer the first. Why not? Why not plug into a group of people that are committed to helping families all over the world with their health and their wealth and have a fantastic track record of doing it? Third question is why not you? Someone's going to say, this makes a lot of sense. I'm ready to grow. And by the way, our friend in Korea, great testimonial. Zaf Khan can provide insight as to how you start a country. You just build a market there, and he did it. South Africa wasn't open. Now he basically has huge impact in South Africa, and impact is matched with income. And I'm super proud of you, Zaf. And the final question is why not now? The longer you wait to act on information, the least likely you are to act on it. So if you like what you heard, get some product, get back to the person who referred you to the meeting and say, I'm ready, let's do this. And we'll welcome you, and let's make the world better, because we have all that we need to do that.
So I've put in the chat box here, you can see the room coming up on the 16th, Creating Unstoppable Energy. This is on Zoom, and you can see the Zoom link. It will always be the same up until the end of the year. Just come and get involved. If the only thing you do is come and listen and get inspired, then that's a start, right? I want to thank everyone that came here today. Feel free to let the world know that there's something awesome. I can see everyone else in the room now. Thank you so much, Grace and Louise and Charlene and this Mr. Blessman, Rhoda, Tommy, everybody. Thank you so much. Molly, guys, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much, Dr. Bob. Really, really appreciate you. You know what I think we should all be doing? I really, really think we should all be getting down to business. What do you reckon? Dr. Bob, thank you.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million.